Hello everyone, what's going on, and welcome back to another edition of Flick News, the show here on Flick Direct, where I give you guys the latest dab and entertainment news throughout the week, and then I give you all my personal take on the matter at hand. I'm your host, Austin Putnam, and guys, this week had some pretty big things happen this week. 3 selective things that I saw them, and I just went, holy freaking crap. In particular, one particular news story that I saw, 2 movies that are being delayed, and unfortunately, I hope a destiny that's going to fall on a film that I'm looking forward to. Going on to our first news for this week, let's get into, a DC film. In particular, I believe it's the first, not real DCU film, but it is a new DC film coming out, and it is called Blue Beetle, a movie that I didn't know what to expect for this movie when I first saw the trailer. I mean, Blue Beetle was a character that I didn't really know anything about, in all honesty, but I had heard some decent things about it, and when I saw the trailer, it looked like it would essentially be DC's version of, Iron Man, except that it had some body horror elements to it. I love the family story from what I'm seeing so far. Blue Beetle looks like a very, very good film, and I'm hoping it does very, very well. But unfortunately, guys, in terms of its opening weekend, in terms of its box office run as well, it unfortunately seems that Blue Beetle is destined to flop. Now, just to give you guys some context, the budget for Blue Beetle is about $120 million. I'm going to repeat myself here. The budget for Blue Beetle is $120 million. In order for Blue Beetle to break even at the box office, it has to at least gross, I would imagine, around 250, 280. In order for Blue Beetle to make a profit, it has to gross about, let's say, $300 million. That first trailer was a great trailer, and given that first trailer, I'm hoping that it does in fact gross that $120 million even more so. I'm hoping it doesn't bomb. I don't want movies to bomb, even movies that are bad. I mean, just seriously, I honestly don't get why some people hope that movies bomb, especially movies that people haven't even seen, but nonetheless, to you guys, I'm hoping that Blue Beetle does well. I'm hoping it does well. That's all I can really say about that. Going into our next news for this week, I unfortunately must talk about some delays in terms of the film world. Now, these delays aren't confirmed, but this is a rumor mill, so please take these delays we're about to say with a big grain of salt. But supposedly, guys, due to the SAG-AFTRA strike, and I believe due to the Writers Guild of America strike, I think it's just due to the SAG-AFTRA, 2 films in particular are looking to be delayed, and those 2 films are Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, and Dune Part 2. For Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom, I have been hearing some, let's just say, tumultuous things about the film's development, and apparently, guys, get this, the film went in for a round 3 of reshoots. Now, here's the thing. This latest round of reshoots only lasted 4 days, but the fact that this film has had to go in for 3 sets of reshoots says a lot. Although, apparently, guys, get this. The current cut of the movie that they're currently reviewing right now looks good, so that's a good sign. Although the first Aquaman also had a very, very tumultuous post-production experience. And keep in mind that Aquaman is a very visual effects heavy film, but Dune Part 2 just absolutely sucks if this is true. Now again, take this with a big grain of salt because supposedly these movies are being delayed because of the SAG-AFTRA strike, and I'm hoping that the strike does resolve itself very, very soon because, I love going to the movies. I love supporting the people who put their blood, sweat, and souls into the film that they worked on. I like to support good movies, and if Dune Part 2 and Aquaman The Lost Kingdom are delayed due to studio execs or producers that won't pay their actors and their writers fairly, guys, please, pay your writers, pay your actors, pay your actresses, pay your workers good living wages. That's all it takes. That's all I'm going to say about that. But seriously, I'm hoping these 2 aren't delayed. Really hoping they're not delayed. I am smiling so much because I saw this headline and I'm hoping it comes into fruition even if this person has certain conditions, but this is still something I hope it happens. Now, as you guys are aware, The Bond franchise is due for a reboot in the next couple of years or so because No Time to Die ended the Daniel Craig storyline back in 2021. Bond is going to come back sooner, hopefully sooner rather than later. It looks like, guys, that a director wants to take on Bond, and it's a director that I think a lot of people have been wanting to take on Bond for a long time, and that is, this guy is one of the most sought-out directors ever, and that is Christopher Nolan. I mean, the influence that the Bond films have had in his films is very apparent, especially in Tenet. I mean, that film is essentially a spy film mixed with a science fiction movie. It is very, very clear that Tenet is very inspired by spy film. Knowing what Christopher Nolan has done for filmmaking in terms of practical effects, and especially his use of IMAX cameras, Nolan could do for a Bond film would be absolutely incredible. And Nolan did say himself he'll do it, except that he has 3 conditions. 1, he needs creative control. 2, he wants to cast Bond. Those 2 specific things he wants to do. Now, here's the thing. Him having creative control, I get it. I absolutely do, because look who the man is. It's Christopher Nolan, and out of all the films that he has made, he has only had one particular film that didn't do so well, because think about it. Tenet was released right when the theaters opened up in the heart of the pandemic. Oppenheimer has a $100 million budget and has already grossed 100, if I'm not mistaken, like 177 million, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Oppenheimer is going to definitely get its box office returns and very, very swimmingly. And here's the thing, though. Him casting Bond, I'm pretty sure would be a win situation for him, absolutely, because Martin Campbell was definitely, I'm pretty sure he definitely had a huge hitting casting bump with the producers, of course. The Broccoli's had definitely a big hitting casting Daniel Craig as Bond, but I'm pretty sure that Martin Campbell definitely had a big habit. So if anything, if Christopher Nolan does get a chance to direct Bond to the Broccoli's, give Nolan a chance to make a Bond film, and I guarantee you his Bond film would have be the best since either Skyfall or even better, Casino Royale. I'd let Nolan do whatever the hell he wants. The man is a huge draw, and the producers hired Nolan to write and direct this movie and have him cast Bond, and on top of that, give him creative control. I think that they could have something special, but that's just me anyways. That's gonna wrap things up for this week's show. Please comment on us below. Starting off, how do you guys feel about the possibility of Blue Beetle flopping the box office? Also, when it comes to Dune and Aquaman possibly being delayed, do you think that they will be delayed? And finally, if you're the producers of the Bond films, would you personally give Nolan full control on the next iteration of Bond? Let me know below. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. If so, please hit that like button, also share, and don't forget the subscribe button and the notification bell for our latest new show goes live. If you guys want to see if our previous 2 new shows, please click it right there or right there. And of course, until next week's new show goes live, we'll see you all next week. Have a wonderful week, guys. Hit like, smash subscribe, and get notified for when our reviews, interviews, and news go live.